Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm once again answering some of your questions, such as what do I think of this pretty quirky Rolex, and why I think this undervalued Patek will be the next collectible. All that and more in today's video. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Patek Philippe 5296 sector dial, one of the newer watches in my collection, absolutely loving it. And also guys, don't forget to check out Del Rey Watch. We just got in some more very cool inventory, including a Rolex Explorer 2 black dial with papers, cheapest one in the US. We got in a very rare Carl F. Bucherer annual calendar with that gorgeous limited edition Tokyo dial, only 88 ever made, and we have one available, and the gorgeous JLC Reverso Tribute with that stunning blue dial. All that and more at delreywatch.com, link in the description below, the best place for a watch geek to buy a watch. Now guys, these are some of the questions you asked me on my Instagram account at Federico Talks Watches. A few times a month I put up a Q&A picture when I get enough, which is usually in a couple minutes. I take the picture down. Please do not DM me, I do not check them. And let's do this in no particular order. 10X Sean, a good friend of the channel and of mine personally, says, ignoring historical significance, which would you say is a higher quality brand? A. Lange or Patek Philippe? To me, this is a very easy question to answer, and that is Lange all day long. Now, I'm not saying Patek doesn't make great watches. They really do, especially their higher end stuff. Truly fantastic and just as good as Lange. But on the entry level or the less expensive Patek Philippe, the Lange wins every time. Lange has the same level of finishing whether you buy a $25,000 Saxonia or a $1 million Tourbillon. Patek does not. They have good finishing in the low end, but the really special stuff is on the high end. Lange treats all their watches the same, which is why I think Lange overall, judging by the detail, the decoration, all that stuff, is overall a step higher than Patek Philippe, especially across the vast majority of their model range. Yannick Thibodeau, can you do an office tour? Yannick, no, and I'll tell you why. So, firstly, security concerns. I don't like to show off exactly what everything looks like, but the bigger part of that answer is we're in a working office. I mean, this is about 2,500 square feet. It's not pretty looking. You know, I'm not one of those YouTubers that has an office for YouTube. I have an office to sell watches, so I got cardboard boxes everywhere, bubble wrap everywhere, polishing materials, a watchmaker's bench. It's not something that's extremely pretty looking. It's honestly just a plain Jane office with a lot of people or a decent amount of people doing their jobs, and not meant for like camera, more meant to buy, sell, and ship watches as efficiently and securely as possible. Wiso Cortez. Hello Fed, is Maurice Lacroix overrated or underrated? This is an interesting question. I'd say neither. So Maurice Lacroix is one of those brands that makes some really, really good stuff, massively underrated, and some real shit, right? So that balances it out. If you look at their discontinued masterpiece collection, a lot of the in-house movement complications and finishing, you can pick those up for almost nothing. And all those watches are fantastic. My watchmaker Hans, actually that's his favorite watch, is a Maurice Lacroix Masterpiece Retrograde. Great, great watches. But then they also make gold-plated quartz crap, which is really overpriced. Right now, they discontinued the Masterpiece. They're not doing so much of that low-end overpriced stuff. They're very much in the middle. So as it stands, I don't think they're overrated or underrated, but I will say their Masterpiece collection is massively underrated, and you should check it out. F. Bindeman. Hey, Fed. First of all, your videos are simply awesome. Thank you. What can you tell us about the Patek Philippe Neptune? Could it be considered a forgotten great deal? All the best. The Patek Philippe Neptune is a watch from the late 90s, early 2000s that a lot of people didn't love when it came out. It's a little overly designed, overly ornate. And for a long time, it was very underpriced. You could pick these up under $10,000. Especially, well, even the complicated one was about $10,000, but the time only even less. Now, with the integrated watch craze and the Patek craze, these have gone up to just about 20 grand for the time only. Now, yes, that's more than doubled in price. However, I still think it has much more room to go way up. I think the design, whether you love it or hate it, is more relevant today because everybody loves integrated bracelets. But also, prices of Pateks have gone up. You know, there's very few, if any, Pateks you can get for $20,000, especially on a bracelet. That's just not a thing anymore. So while, is it a forgotten great deal? Not really, because the watch has doubled in price. I do think it still has way more room to go up. However, don't buy it as an investment. Only buy it if you like the design. I still think it can be a great deal. And Watch Salas. Howdy from Utah, Fed. I love the Rolex Oyster Quartz. What are your thoughts about this over-engineered, quirky, stylish watch from the Crown? Well, you said it all. It is an over-engineered, quirky, and stylish. I love the design. I think it looks great. I think the quartz movement is fantastic. I mean, this is not just a microchip. This is a truly mechanical quartz movement. Really, really special. I even think the prices they're going for are very reasonable, under $5,000 in most cases. However, where it becomes a pain in the butt is when they need service and if they need parts. These can be very hard to fix. A, because not a lot of watchmakers have experience with them, and B, because it's very hard to get parts. I don't even think Rolex fixes, don't quote me on this, but I've heard of them turning away Oyster Quartz. So while I'm not telling you don't buy one, because you still can find watchmakers to fix it, and you still can find parts even though it might take you a minute, that is the major caveat to owning one of these. It is getting harder and harder to fix when it needs to be done. Now, if you're on a mission to fix one, of course you can get it done. It's just not an easy thing to accomplish. That being said, price of the watch is fantastic. The history is fantastic. The design is the best part. So yes, I would own one, even though it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I still think it's worth it. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Really does help. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Take care.